Welcome to Beyond the Policy, the podcast where we go past the fine print and into the real stories that shape how we live, work, and protect what matters most. I'm Matt Karaffa, risk advisor, consultant, and founder of the Be Better Foundation, where each week sit down with clients, colleagues, and industry voices to talk about business, life, and the passions that drive each of us and the areas we can all work on to truly be better. This is Beyond the Policy. Welcome to Beyond the Policy. Thanks for joining. Excited to get into our conversation. BGSU graduate Adam Furnas joined, so thanks for taking the time. And as we get started, give us a quick background. Born and raised in BG, what you did and what you're up to now.
Yeah, so from Bowling Green originally, Bowling Green High School. Went to school at BGSU, played baseball for Coach Kyle Hallock. Currently live in Perrysburg with my fiance Sawyer. Work for a company called Health Track right now in med sales, and then do some contracting stuff with BCSN on the side, calling some baseball games for high schools and BGSU.
Awesome. So let's start kind of back. Hometown kid, went to play at BGSU in same town. What was that like, kind of that experience, teammates all over? Kind of what was your point of view on that?
Yeah, it was awesome. Obviously, being a Bowling Green kid, playing for BGSU was always kind of the dream. So it was awesome to be able to stay home. Dad, mom, parents being able to come out to games, every single home game. My dad would even come and sit and watch some practices sometimes. So growing up and going to hockey games and baseball games and basketball games, football games, I always say the cliche, you learn to love the brown and orange, and that's what I did, and it all worked out. So
yeah. So with that, obviously growing up, you kind of had that. What was your recruiting process like, or did you look at any other schools, or what kind of made it click, other than getting that opportunity to play for your college hometown?
Yeah.
Kind of what else did you look at through your recruiting?
Yeah, I looked at a couple different schools. I took visits. My first ever visit was to Western Michigan. I took an official visit to Kent State, talks with Cincinnati, Xavier, like one or two conversations with Toledo, UT. But ultimately, when it came down to it, Coach Schmitz, the coach at the time, reached out to me. We were able to get a visit scheduled, and once that kind of happened, the ball got rolling, and I knew this is where I wanted to be. So yeah, the stars aligned.
Awesome. So maybe let's take your freshman year to your senior year. I'm sure you evolved as a person, as a player.
Yeah.
Figure out your priorities, college, all that stuff. What in your mind, if you're looking back when you were as a freshman and you grew to where you were captain, all of that as a senior, what kind of was there any pivotal moment in that journey where you're like, man, I need to figure it out and this is what I got to do?
Yeah, I think coming into college, my goal was to get on the field. It was kind of being a freshman, sophomore, I'm excited to be there. And that was kind of the thought. It was like, I just want to get on the field. Once that happens, your goals kind of change a little bit. And I think once Coach Hallock came in my sophomore year, that kind of helped me a little bit too. He instilled a lot of things in me, whether it was discipline or sticking to your routine, stuff like that, where I feel like when I was just kind of figured it out, I was kind of all over the place. And then once he came in and kind of instilled those things in me, goals change and aspirations change and stuff like that. So I think him coming in my sophomore year kind of flipped that switch for me and was like, hey, you're kind of looking at this all wrong. Let's change your point of view. And then once you change that point of view, maybe that helps you get on the field and grow a little bit more as an athlete and person. So
yeah. So you mentioned a couple things there. One, you had, in your 4-year, 5-year career, coaching change.
Yeah.
Kind of went through some ups and downs. Talk about what the team was doing at the time, whether it be wins, losses, positive, negative momentum, kind of what was that roller coaster ride, kind of through coaching change and, ups and downs as a player.
Yeah, Bowling Green, obviously, when you think about baseball, you think about Danny Schmitz, longtime coach. He had over 30-something seasons. He was the coach that recruited me and brought me in. Obviously, it was a little bit different than how it ended with him being the head coach. During sophomore year or junior years when the program got cut, Coach Hallock came in sophomore year. And I kind of tell this story, and it's no knock to Coach Schmitz or Coach Shea, our old hitting coach, or any of the other coaches. Yeah. But we have a team meeting at the beginning of the year just to, hey, we're going to set goals, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And it was Coach Hallock's first team meeting. And Coach Schmitz went, he talked to the team. Coach Shea went, he talked to the hitters. And then Coach Hallock went. And one of the things he preaches in your athletes and just in your day-to-day life is presence, how you carry yourself, how you act around different people. And the second it was his turn to speak, he had like 15 folders. He handed them out to all the pitchers. And you could just tell the vibe in the room changed. And it was like, holy cow, this feels different. So when the program got cut and then brought back and Coach Schmitz decided it was a good time to retire, it was an absolute no-brainer to have Coach Hallock step in. Obviously, with the success the program has had in the last couple of years, it was the right decision to make. So it was a lot. It was going through a lot, but ultimately I think it was the best thing that happened to me.
Yeah, and we had Coach Hallock on a few episodes ago and kind of talked about that journey. So I'm interested from a player's point of view. You mentioned one that started, just felt different. And then you were on a team where it was cut. And then you saw the success that yielded, shortly thereafter. We got, if we go backwards, you got turf, you got lights, you got championship, and you were there, cut the champs. It was where it started. You were cut.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Yeah.
So, like, being a part of that and obviously the alumni relationship, you have that Falcon brotherhood of the team. What was that piece like, from being a player and then being a proud alumni, I would imagine, of seeing what kind of happened shortly thereafter?
Yeah, I think obviously when you look at the difference in the team my freshman year to my senior year, it was obviously a lot different. When our program got cut, I think of the 36 or 37 guys we had on the roster, we only kept about 18 of them. Mm-hmm. A bunch of people transferred, and at that point, that was good because Coach Hallock could kind of bring in his guys. It kind of gave him a fast track on recruiting. I love my freshman year team, but I think that some of the athletes on that team maybe had different goals than some of the athletes brought in when the program got cut, right? Like me, my freshman year, I was kind of just excited to be there. But now Coach Hallock is bringing in freshmen that are like, I'm coming here, I'm playing, I want to win, I want to go to the pros. I think it was just a little bit of a mentality change when that happened. So I'd say that was the main difference between those two types of teams. And obviously, like you said, going from where we were bottom of the MAC, not making the MAC tournament, to winning the MAC. Now we have turfs, now we have lights, everything like that. It's been outstanding, and the alumni network has been amazing too. When the program got cut, I've talked to so many more people and met so many more people since that happened than I did way before it did.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Coach, there any, you mentioned discipline, some of those things, any one-liners or words of wisdom that stick with you that come to mind? One he's told me, which I think is very, very good life advice. Don't live on the west side of town. You always got to drive into the sun going to and from work. Like, it just, I don't know. I find that hilarious.
That one sticks with you? I'm sure there are, and if he watches this back, he's going to be mad at me that I can't think of any off the top of my head. But his one-liners are good. We have the whiteboard in the locker room. He always had something good written down there, and the presence is his main thing that always stuck with me. If you're going out in the field, you're going into a sales call, you're going into this, you're going into that, you're not walking in confident. If you're not walking in like, hey, I'm going to get this done, odds are you're not going to get it done. So the first time he preached presence to us, I think that one stuck with me, and it's definitely one I carry with me.
Yeah, so that's a good transition to, obviously we share a, college athletic background and, discipline, teammates, team atmosphere, all those things. What have you carried with you from your college athletic days, into your job now? You mentioned one, discipline, presence.
Yeah.
Anything else, that you see in your professional life now that you've started that, was developed and nurtured, in athletics?
Yeah, I think one thing, I'd kind of mentioned it in the beginning, that I also kind of started doing towards the end was my routine. I think being a young kid and starting out your career, you just kind of get excited and you're trying to do so much and you're kind of all over the place, right? In college, it was important for me in those last couple years when I really started hitting my groove of I'm going to wake up, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to go to class, I'm going to go lift, I'm going to go to practice. When I get to practice and I'm doing pregame, I'm going to do this T drill, then this T drill. And then obviously that translates into the workplace now. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to come back, I'm going to check my emails, jump in the shower, have breakfast, get ready, go out, check my schedule, and kind of go about your day that way. I think sticking to your routine allows you to be a lot more consistent, and just allows me to really be able to attack the day better than if you're kind of just don't really have a plan at all.
Sure. One question I like to ask of, if you would go back if you talk to a high school kid or maybe even younger now, of one thing you wish they would know that you knew that you could have learned at a younger age to help you be more successful quicker, any words of advice to maybe that high school player, someone now wants to play college baseball, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I think obviously outside of the routine, everything I've touched on, another one is, and it sounds cliche, is just setting goals. I think when I got to college originally, like I said, I was excited to be there. And it was, okay, maybe I'll get on the field, maybe I won't. And then obviously things shift around and stuff like that. But setting those goals and saying, I want to stick to this so I can get here, can help yourself in college athletics. I think it can help yourself in the sales world and, hey, I want to hit these numbers. I want to set this many meetings this week, stuff like that. So I think setting goals is a huge thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. From a college standpoint into the professional, absolutely. And that's, being in a sales, both in a sales, I mean, if you don't measure it, if you don't set it, like it's most likely not going to get done. So
yeah.
Obviously you mentioned, starting off, you do some work on the side with BCSN, calling college baseball games. Tell us a little bit, what's that like, or how'd you get into that?
Yeah, it's actually kind of a funny story. Justin Feldkamp, who headlines the talent up there, randomly reached out to me a couple years ago. He had done a special on Andy Tracy, obviously Bowling Green High School guy, played at BGSU Baseball, one of the big alumni donors that we have, and now the AAA manager for the Columbus Clippers. He was doing a special on him, and they were BCSN was looking to grow their talent, and Justin asked Andy if he had any recommendations, and he recommended me, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pass up this opportunity. So met with Justin, kind of went over what it would be like. I'm a color analyst for them, so don't really need to have the background of play-by-play stuff. So it makes it a little bit easier. And it's a lot of fun. Just get to do some research on the teams. Obviously, when I call BGSU, it's a lot easier because I know a lot of those guys. But it's fun. The play-by-play guy sets stuff up, and I really just get to sit there and talk baseball,
yeah.
which is something I like doing. So still keeps me involved in the game, and obviously around the team I love too. So
yeah. And refresh my memory, what position did you play?
First.
So
yeah.
I have a question as a basketball official.
Okay.
And obviously umpires in baseball. What's it like at first base? You get a lot of action. You got to play. If it's hit every time. I'm always curious in baseball. If there's an objective call or some heated thing. What's like a player ref? Any interactions? I'm always curious.
Yeah. No. So it's funny. Obviously in baseball, the start of every single inning, you have the umpire right behind first. So every single game, I would go out and introduce myself. You get to talk to them and just develop that rapport with them. I think at first it's a little bit different because I have to see that guy a lot. And for me, like whether a guy was safe or out at first base, I could never really argue those because, I can tell when the ball hits my glove and tell when the foot hits the bag, but it's so bang. It's hard thing. But when it comes to hitting, I was known to be a little bit of a hothead, a little bit disagreeing with balls and strikes. And those home plate umpires, they don't really stand for that. So you can get away with a couple things, but after one or two times, they're not going to be happy with you.
Fair enough. I'm always curious on how in baseball that works with, because it's so many decisions.
Yeah.
I think a crazy thing, one of the World Series games, there was like 680 balls or strikes called in that game that went to like 18 innings.
Yeah.
It's
crazy. And with these new systems, they're coming out where you have a ball and strike system now. It's in the minor leagues. It's not to major league yet. I still like the human aspect of it, right? I agree that maybe to some extent you could maybe challenge a ball or strike, but I think something that makes baseball so great is the fact that you have the human behind there calling the pitches. So we'll see where it goes. But,
yeah. One other thing I like to ask here beyond the policy of, You know, you mentioned hometown. You still live and work in the town close to where you grew up. From a community standpoint, Bowling Green, what was it like having that community feel of having the high school, the college, friends, family, all of that? What did the community mean to you, and what do you hope to give back to your community?
Yeah, I always, being the cliche, the Bowling Green kid from Bowling Green, I always say that the town's divided by one street, Main Street. You have the community kind of on the west side, the college on the east side. I thought it was an amazing town to grow up in, being able to be super excited about high school games, and then also being able to go to BGSU games and have the university here as well. It's a town that means so much to me. I still go back, and my dad's a high school basketball coach for the basketball team. My brother's still involved in some of the high school stuff. He's a student manager at BGSU for the men's team. So it's a community that I do love. I am just a short 15-minute drive away, but try to get back down here as much as I could, catch some high school hockey. That was a big part of my life growing up. My dad was the youth hockey president forever here in Bowling Green, so love the ice arena, love being around that, and just try to get down here as much as I can.
Yeah, that's awesome to have you a part of it and give back, when you can. So as we wrap up here, any other words of wisdom to share? Anything from playing days or to share with the audience?
No, I'd say, obviously I'm from Bowling Green, still live in Northwest Ohio. I think being a young professional, one thing that I recommend is to just take risks, just go for it. I had a pretty stable job before I stepped into what I was doing now, and I think it can be scary to leave that. But I'd say go for those opportunities, and 'cause you never know where it may lead. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time today.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in on Beyond the Policy. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for hanging out with me on Beyond the Policy. If you got something out of today's conversation, pass it along to a friend, client, or colleague who might enjoy it too. You can always connect with me through the show notes or on LinkedIn. And remember, the best coverage always starts with the right conversations. Until next time, be better.